السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عيد مبارك، تقبل الله منا ومنكم صالح الأعمال. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، والله أكبر، الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، الله أكبر، الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، والله أكبر، الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبعد. Respected youngsters, respected young children, respected elders, respected youth, brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, today is a day to smile. No more sad faces, inshallah. No more stern faces, no more hungry faces. For today, inshallah, we just want to see nice shining teeth everywhere, inshallah. And so, even though it's an early prayer, in fact, it's not an early prayer, it's 10:30, the last Jamat. So, alhamdulillah, it's the last Jamat for the day in Dar Ummah. And I chose this Jamat because I know a lot of young people come, so they can't bother to wake up so early. So, we want to spend some time, a good time together, inshallah, learn some benefits, and take some reminders, and ultimately praise Allah Azza wa Jalla for all of the favors that Allah has bestowed upon us. Look around you, look at yourself. I'm sure you looked at yourself before you came out in the mirror when you were doing your clothes, when you were ironing your clothes and you put it on, when you were grooming yourself. You looked at yourself in the mirror. Look at the amount of blessings Allah has bestowed upon us. Subhanallah. There isn't a blessing that we could ask for, most of us. Subhanallah, we are probably from amongst the top 10 or 15% in the world in terms of ni'am. We have everything we need, subhanAllah, everything we want. There isn't a food that you probably want today that you couldn't have. Imagine. For example, I can't say that I want a gourmet burger and I can't afford it. Alhamdulillah, everyone can afford 10, 15 pounds to afford any meal that you could possibly want. Unless, of course, something super, which maybe is not in the capacity of everybody. But the point being is, any food, meat, chicken, fish, fruits, vegetables, bread of all types, desserts of all types, whether you want Western dessert, whether you want Turkish delights, whether you want Indian desserts, mishti, roshagulla, rashmalai, zilafi, nimki, you can have any of that, subhanAllah. Whereas, mass majority of the population of the world can't even afford some of it, subhanAllah. We were talking about apples yesterday in the Imam's office, because we had some, in Ramadan we have limited time to eat. So by the time you have the iftar, and by the time you finish the Tarawih, and then it's suhoor time, no one has time for apples. You have dates, you have grapes, you have watermelon, but apples is not so popular in Ramadan. So what happened is, some brother gave us some apples at the beginning of Ramadan. Unfortunately, no one ate it, and it was getting old. So we were remembering, subhanAllah, there was a time, or there is still people, there are people, most people around the world right now, let alone having an apple, they don't even get to see an apple, subhanAllah. And I can remember when I was a young boy, I don't know if you know, I was actually born in Bangladesh. And when I came to this country, I was 7 years old in 1997. Born in 89, so I was about 7, 8. And I can remember when I was a young boy in the village, in our village in one of the remotest parts of Bangladesh, it's called, our Thana is called Zokigonj, and my village is called Kholakuta, which is next to Khalidganj Bazaar, which is like right next to Indian border. And before I came to this country, my father was already, he was already here. He was working as an imam in Finsbury Park Mosque, in Enfield Mosque, and a few other masjids. So despite our family having a member of family in London, which is my father, I can still remember having apples and grapes and fruit was like a big deal. And subhanAllah, all of these fruits and desserts, we can have any of that. Say Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And then think about all of the clothes that you can wear. Most of us, mashallah, if you're working, and if you've got like a decent income, you can afford to wear whatever you want. You might not have the exact brand. You want to wear a blazer, you'll get a blazer. You want to wear smart shoes, you'll get smart shoes. You want to get thin socks, you'll get thin socks. You want to get thick socks, you'll get thick socks. You want to get a nice hat, you'll get it. You want to wear perfume, you can afford it. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Therefore, we should continuously praise Allah. Allah says in the Quran, قُلْ, it says what? قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. Say to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, let them rejoice with the fadl, the favor of Allah, which is the fadl of Allah generally, but also the Quran. وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ, and the rahmah of Allah, the mercy of Allah, which is the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which is all of the blessings of the Prophet of Allah azza wa jal that He gave us anyway. بِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Let them rejoice with the ni'mas of Allah, with the fadl of Allah. Let us not rejoice in the wrath of Allah. Some of us find joy in committing sins. Okay? Committing sins shouldn't be fun. I mean, it feels fun, but we shouldn't feel happy about it. We'll speak about that in a minute anyway. But the point being is, Allah has given us all of these favors. For that, we should rejoice and say, Alhamdulillah. We should rejoice in a way of gratitude, not in a way of arrogance. Some of us, we are blessed more than others. But this shouldn't cause us to feel like I'm superior to the next person. When you're driving in your Mercedes or your BMW or even maybe something higher, and my brother's driving in his Focus or something else, maybe not the same price tag, Allah, He does not make you better. He does not make you better at all. You might be wearing a better branded clothing. My brother next to you might be wearing a different, maybe slightly more affordable. But wallahi, that expensive clothes does not make you better. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was explicit and clear. When he in Hajjatul Wida, he made that khutbah and he said, no Arab person is superior over a non-Arab person. No white person is superior of another person of a different race or color. The only thing you can be superior with is what? Taqwa. The person who is more connected to God, to Allah, he is the one that is more superior in the sight of Allah. And even him, he doesn't have the rights to show his superiority amongst other khalqullah. His superiority is supposed to make him more humble, supposed to make him more kind, more generous, more assisting and more helpful to his people that are around him. This is the nature of Islam. And so therefore, we are grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Join with me by praising Allah by saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd, Allahu Akbar kabeera, walhamdulillahi katheera, وسبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. No doubt whatsoever. When you say that, you should feel it in your bones. Not just in your heart, you should feel it in your bones that Allah is the greatest. Can anybody here, can anybody in the entire world think of anyone that's greater than Allah? Impossible. Allah is the greatest. That's what Allahu Akbar means. Allah is the greatest. And so when we in our salah, we say Allahu Akbar, we prostrate. We go to ruku'. Allahu Akbar, we go to sujood. Allah is the greatest. I prostrate, I lower myself. And then I say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. Praise be to my Lord who is the greatest. Then I say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Praise be to my Lord who is the highest. I lower myself and I raise and praise by Allah Azza wa Jal. Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest. And then it's Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah means there is none worthy of worshipping except for Allah Azza wa Jal. Does anybody deserve to be worshipped except for Allah Azza wa Jal? No. Kalla, never. Only Allah alone deserves to be worshipped because Allah alone is perfect. And Allah alone we rely upon. Allah alone is the giver of all favors, of all ni'mas. Yes, you might have some sort of an avenue for your income, but ultimately, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Your rizq comes from the sama, from Allah Azza wa Jal. And so therefore, We praise Allah, we glorify Allah, but there is none worthy of worshipping except for Allah Azza wa Jal. When you say this, don't just feel it in your heart, feel it in your bones. Feel it in your bones. This is the reality, my dear brothers. If there is any reality in this dunya, it is the reality of Allah's superiority. It is the reality of Allah's might, of Allah's favors upon us. There are things that you see around you. A lot of these things are real, a lot of these things are fake. But the reality is, the ultimate reality, al-haq. We said in our tahajjud, we said in our qunut, Allahumma anta qulta wa qawluka al-haq. You've said and your saying is the truth. Wa wa'aduka al-haq, and your promise is true. Wa anta, and you are the truth. Allah is the truth. Everything else, kullu shay'in harikun illa wajha. When the Quranic ayah says, kullu man alayha fan, every single thing that's on earth will be destructed, we might think that perhaps what's not on earth might not be destructed, meaning what's in the sky. But Allah says, eventually, kullu shay'in halikun illa wajha. Every single thing will be destructed come to an end, except for Allah alone, subhanallah. And so He is the reality. He has been there without no beginning, and He will be there without no ending. أول بلا ابتداء وآخر بلا انتهاء. He has no beginning. When someone asks the question, what if Allah is the creator of all things, then who created Allah? That doesn't make sense. Because the time does not apply to Allah. Allah made time, but He's not in time. Allah made space, but He doesn't have to be in space. And so therefore, Allah is the ultimate. Allah is the Almighty. We say, La ilaha illallah, none worthy of worshipping except for Allah Azza wa Jal. And then we say, Allahu Akbar kabira. Allahu Akbar again, kabira, the greatest of all. Walhamdulillahi kathira. And praise for Allah continuously, immensely, and huge amounts. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا. Subhanallah means praise to Allah. But it also means I praise Allah from any sort of deficiency. There is no naqs, there is no nuqsan. There is nothing deficient in our Allah, in our King, in our ultimate Creator. There is no form of weakness or deficiency. Subhanallah means I praise and I proclaim that my Lord is clean and cleansed and pure from any form of deficiency. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, and with His praise, bukratan wa asila, in the morning and in the evening. Say with me, Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira, wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi وأصيلا. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولله الحمد. Allah, say loudly, my brothers. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, la ilaha illa Allah. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Allah. My dear brothers, beloved brothers, my respected brothers, youngsters, friends, please move a little bit forward to give space to the brothers that are waiting. Sisters are waiting in the different hall. The brothers that are waiting, please make space. إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ. Yes, there are a lot of spaces, and please try to fill them up. إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ فَافْسَحُوا يَفْسَحِ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. If it's told to you in a majlis that makes space for others, then make space, Allah will make space for you, subhanAllah. And so therefore, my brothers, we've understood that this is a day of what? Smiling. No more angry faces, and I'm being serious about that. It's not just a joke. We need to smile for the day. We should smile all the time. To the Prophet ﷺ, he was the most smiling of all people, and he was the most serious at the same time. He was extremely serious because he wasn't messing around. He wasn't abath, he wasn't just wasting his time. He was very serious in the conveying of his Lord's mission. So how do we combine the both? Ulama explain, they say that the Prophet ﷺ, when it came to dealing with people, his family, his friends, his neighbors, when it came to dealing with people, he was the most smiling person. But when it came to dealing with himself, he was the most serious. With us, it's the opposite. You smile at yourself in the mirror, you go outside with a moody face. Because that's supposed to look more cool. And it's come to such an extent that as imams now, we feel scared to smile too much. Because people will think this guy's a joke. He keeps on smiling all the time. SubhanAllah. But smiling is a sunnah. Smiling is a sadaqah. Smiling is healthy. It's good for you. Scientists, doctors say that smiling exercises a huge amount of muscles that no other exercise can exercise of your muscles. So smiling is good for you. But not just silly smiling. You don't want to be called a mad person. You don't want to look like on the street someone's telling you if you've done something wrong and then you're smiling as well. Smiling, you know all of this. I'm just, having a good time with you, inshallah. So smile all the time, especially with your young friends, especially with your young children, with your nephews and your nieces, with your families. It's sad. When you go outside to meet your friends, what's going on? When you come home, it's like very serious, and I say, come on. The people that deserve the most happiness, most respect, most appreciation, most love are those who have favored you most, look after you most. And so your smile should be the biggest with your mom. Your smile should be the biggest with your dad and your father. We're coming to our Salah time, and so as is the norm. Okay, that's fine. There's space also in the inside room, brothers. There is more space if you can't find space. Okay, inshallah. Okay, khalas. Should we have connection now? Connection with, okay, that's fine. Say with me, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. This connection is for the masjid, and also if you haven't paid your fitrah, fitrah is £5. Fitrah is £5. Who is it for? It's not for us. It's for the poor people. And it's a stipulated amount. It needs to be paid. This is for the masjid only. If you want to pay your fitrah, it's outside when you're leaving. You'll see a person waiting for the fitrah. Fitrah is for the poor people. Like it's only £5 per head. So it's £5 for yourself. And if you're a responsible person in your family, if you're a father, you should give it on behalf of your wife, of your children as well. It's an amazing thing to do. It's for the poor people to enjoy something nice as well. It's from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and is in fact mandatory and wajib for you to give it if you can afford it. And so everyone make sure you've given your fitrah. I'm sure you've already done so. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. Brothers, you're saying Allah is the greatest. Say it in a big voice. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira, wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi bukratan wa asila. Look how many favors Allah's favored us with. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. So many ni'mas of Allah. You should remember this every single time. Remember the favors of Allah. In Surah Rahman we read, again and again Allah is talking about the favors. The first thing, the first ayah of the Quran that you recite is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise and all thanks is due to Allah, the Lord of all of the worlds. Remember this, my dear brothers. Let that be a reason for your appreciation of Allah. Let that be a reason to deter your anxieties and your depressions. Let that be a reason for you to be kind to people. Let that be a reason for you to be more generous to others. A quick tutorial of our Eid Salah. Stand up for this one. I'll tell you a funny story that happened recently. Once I was leading Salah in Bari State Masjid, and I gave a full tutorial of the Eid Salah. And so I said, brothers, after Thana, you should say Allah Akbar 3 times, and then you say Alhamdulillah, I was going to say Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, you should stay quiet, you should listen. I said, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I forgot to recite the 3 takbir, subhanAllah. So I hope that doesn't happen today. Sometimes it happens, when you're under pressure, especially if you're doing it for the first or second time. Anyway, so the tutorial of the Eid Salah is as follows. It's slightly different. Ultimately, it's 2 sets, 2 cycles, 2 rakats. And the only difference is what? The 6 extra takbeers, especially in our Hanafi school of law, in the Shafi'i school of law, and other madhahib is slightly different, but we'll go with what's predominantly followed here. So in the Hanafi school of law, the takbirat that are extra in Eid Salah are how many? 6. 3 in the first rak'ah and 3 in the second rak'ah. How many in the third rak'ah? None, because there is no third rak'ah. Okay, so 3 in the first rak'ah and 3 in the second rak'ah. The 3 takbirat in the first rak'ah are at the beginning or at the ending? Let's see if you remember. Beginning. At the beginning. Excellent. So as soon as the Imam says Allahu Akbar and he holds his hand, everyone quietly recites what? Thana. What is thana? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. This is the thana. After you've said that, which is going to take about 20 seconds, then the Imam will then say what? He says, Allahu Akbar. You raise your hands. It's not like janazah. In janazah, you don't raise your hand. In Eid, you raise your hand. You raise your hands. This is the first extra takbir. You lower it. Allahu Akbar. Second extra takbir. You lower it. Third extra takbir. Allahu Akbar. After that, you fold it. Why? Because you're standing in salah now. Then the Imam will recite Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Hopefully he recites a short surah. It's Eid, they want to go and move on. And then you go to ruku' and you go to sujood, and then you stand up during the beginning of your second rak'ah now. Are the takbir at the beginning or at the ending here? Ending. Very good, mashallah. Excellent memories. So then the Imam will start saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, and recite another surah as well. Hopefully it'll be short. When we move on, we'll go and get things done in Eid day. And then now before you go to ruku', there'll be 3 more extra takbir. So you'll say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And with the 4th takbir we'll go to ruku'. Don't go to ruku' with the first one, because then you have to stand up again and notice the first. It's all good anyway, alhamdulillah. Eid Salah is twice a year, so it's easy to forget it. Is that all clear now? One more request. After Eid Salah, you have to have a short khutbah. It's very important. So don't run away. If you run away from the khutbah, it's basically you're missing half the Eid Salah. So remember that. That khutbah is not optional. You have to stay for it. I'll make it quick, inshallah. I know you need to go and get things done in Eid day. So inshallah, we'll make it quick, just a quick reminder, so sit for that khutbah, and then as you're leaving, make sure to smile. Make sure to be happy. Make sure to spread the happiness. Make sure to bring joy into the hearts of your family, of your children. I'm sure you've already got the whole day planned. And this is what it's about. We should be rejoicing with the fadl and the rahmah of Allah, Allah's grace and Allah's mercy upon us. Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina, and they used to celebrate all of these different days. So the Prophet asked them, what's this? What are all these celebrations? He said, oh, these are celebrations from our Jahiliyyah time. We used to do it. He said, well, I've got good news for you. What's the good news? Allah has replaced those celebrations with better celebrations. The Eid al-Fitr and the Eid al-Adha, subhanAllah. Because these celebrations are all about glorifying Allah. Your inner happiness, your spiritual happiness, your psychological happiness, and then your social happiness too, whereby you're instructed by the Sunnah to share that happiness with your friends, family, neighbors, and your society. I've said it in order. Actually, I said it in the wrong order. It's supposed to be yourself, your family, your friends, and then your neighbors and your social people. Not the other way around. Most of our young people, what we do is we go to our friends more than we go to our families. Remember this, because they have a right over you to see them on Eid day. That's now our time. It's 10:30. So what we'll do is we'll do our salah now. If you can make your rows, and then straight afterwards we'll do our khutbah, and then it'll be good to go with Islam. Please make sure there are no gaps left in your rows. Please make sure all of you are straight and neat. And please pray. Pray also happily. Pray for the sake of Allah. Pray as if you're standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah accept from all of us, all of our ibadat. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. استووا اعتدلوا واستقيموا. خلاص, I think everybody's ready to start. استووا اعتدلوا واستقيموا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى وييسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: قل بفضل الله وبرحمته فبذلك فليفرحوا هو خير مما يجمعون. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله قد أبدلكم بها خيرا منهما يوم الأضحى ويوم الفطر. أما بعد. My dear respected youngsters, respected brothers, respected sisters, respected fellow Muslims, walhamdulillah, it is the day of Eid, it is the day of happiness, of rejoicing, of being happy with the favors and the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. This our Allah Azza wa Jal has given us so many favors. The whole month of Ramadan was a favor. Favor for what? For making me a better person. Allah trained me to be the best me. Allah trained us physically. Allah trained us emotionally. Allah trained us psychologically. And so a question that came to me a few times toward the end of Ramadan from brothers who thought good of me and maybe thought that I can give them a good answer, Wallahu a'lam. They said to me, brother, how can we carry on with this energy, this zeal, this iman after Ramadan? And the question is a tough one, because the question is one that I can ask myself as well. How can we carry on with the same passion, that same connection, or at least close to it after Ramadan? Because Ramadan isn't supposed to come and go and that's it from Eid day, I'm the old me. It doesn't work like that, bro. It's supposed to carry on for tomorrow, for the whole of the year, for the next year. And so the point being is we need to think, what did Ramadan teach me and how can I maintain it? I've made indication that Ramadan came and trained me physically. Ramadan came and trained me spiritually. My spirituality increased. And Ramadan came and trained me psychologically and in my education, in my knowledge too. And so the point being is, if I want to carry on with the spirit of taqwa, the spirit of Ramadan, I need to take some of these things from Ramadan and take it as an asset, something like a zad. When you go on a journey, you leave your home, everything is there, your food is there, your clothes are there, everything is there. But when you go on a journey, you take some of this stuff with you. You take some snacks, some drinks, some clothes, whatever you need in that journey. And so we've left our home of Ramadan, the home of taqwa. But we need to carry on for the rest of the year with that taqwa, with that iman. So I need to take some of these essential things from Ramadan and I need to carry it with me for the rest of the year in order to feed that same level of iman bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. What did I learn? Ramadan taught me physically to keep myself physically healthy. To fast every now and then. The sunnah is to fast Mondays and Thursdays. realistically speaking, in summer days, to do that sunnah fast is really quite, only for the high iman people. But at least in the shorter days, have that habit, inshallah azza wa jal, whereby we are looking after ourselves physically. We are also fasting. At the same time, Ramadan taught us to educate ourselves. So what I'm trying to say ultimately, for us to be clued on, connected with the deen for the rest of the year, there has to be certain things that we need to take. I will suggest some things, and you should try and apply these things. I will say namely three things only. Only three things. First of all, of course, the first thing you should try to take from Ramadan is the Quran itself. You don't have to promise to me loudly, but in your mind make a promise to yourself that inshallah, by the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, by the will of Allah, I will recite a portion of the Quran every day. Inshallah, inshallah Azza wa Jal. This will change your life. This will give you so much barakah, only you will be able to experience. I can't experience it for you. Reciting one page. Prophet ﷺ said that inna habba al-a'mal Allahi adwamuha wa in qal. The most beloved actions to Allah are those which are most consistent, continuous, even if it's a little bit. So even if it's one page of the Quran, but you're doing it regularly, sometimes something happens, it's fine. You can carry on from the following day, or from the following week, or from the following few days. The point being is, take the Quran with you. Number one. We learn Taraweeh, we pray 20 rakats, and mashallah, towards the end times, we have also tahajjud. Surprisingly, some brothers didn't come to Taraweeh, but they came to tahajjud. Allahu Akbar. Amazing, may Allah accept from all of us. But the point being is, this whole habit of night prayer, take it with you. One of the best prayers is the optional night prayer. Of course, the fara'id are there, I'm not even going there. The fard salahs, I'm assuming you're going to do inshallah. And if you forget, then you'll do qada. And if you fall behind, then you will fix yourself up, inshallah, you'll come and inshallah join the salah once again. But one of the habits to take, at least every single day, take just 2 rakats of nafil prayer. Am I asking for too much? 2 rakats take 2 to 3 minutes. If you recite it long, then alhamdulillah, it's up to you. But just take 2 rakats of nafil salah, preferably before fajr, meaning tahajjud. If you can't, if you got busy schedule, the times are different in UK, it changes the fajr time, even during the day. Just 2 rakats of nafil salah. Some Quran, some nafil salah, okay? And lastly, I will say to you that in Ramadan, one of the things that kept us going was our social circle, wasn't it? You come to Taraweeh, you see the brothers, mashallah. Even if you don't want to cry, when you see my brother next to you shaking, you think, oh, I need to cry as well, subhanAllah, it's getting too much. So the social circles, being around good people changes you, has an effect on you. This is a fact. And so what I'm saying to you is, if you're going to take another thing from Ramadan, then take a good social circle. We think that, for example, friends, it's alright, friends just to chill with, to relax with. But friends should benefit you. Friends should benefit. If the friend is not benefiting you, then you're probably benefiting him. It's fine to benefit each other as long as it's for good. But if it's for bad, that he's influencing you, she's influencing you for bad, then this is not a circle you want to be in. Eventually, it will take you down in your iman. Meaning, have a good social circle around you. What's the best way to do this? Go to the masjid. Come to the masjid for salah. We cry literally, we ask people again and again, please come to the masjid for salah just like you do in Ramadan. Is that for me? Am I going to benefit anything? Wallahi, it's not for myself. You will benefit having that environment, seeing so many young brothers praying like your age. Brothers like you, working professionals, coming to Darul or any other masjid that's local to you, praying in Jama'ah, it will change your atmosphere, your feel about the deen. Sometimes you feel isolated, far away, and you start questioning, oh, Islam like this and all of that, because you don't feel that zeal, you don't feel that environment, you don't feel that community of Muslims. And so, coming to Salah, going to Islamic durus, we have a range of lessons here in Darul Ummah. In your local masjid, probably it's this one anyway, but if there's a closer masjid to you, there might be other lessons too. You might come and say, this Shaykh is talking basic stuff. I know how to pray. I know how to give my zakat. Why is he talking about this stuff for? Allah is not just about that. Coming to a lesson like this, the environment is the best thing. Seeing other practicing brothers, speaking with them, having some snacks with them sometimes, arranging some sort of a circle. This environment is what you need. Without that environment, wallahi, it'll be hard for us to carry on. And so what did I say? Quran, some salah,
optional, of course, the daily salah, not just some salah, the fara'id salah and some salah, optional, and at the same time having a good circle, meaning come to the masjid for your 5 daily salah, come to the masjid for extra durus, and whatever other activity they may be for your own good. May Allah accept from all of us. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd, Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira. سبحان الله وبحمده بكرة وأصيلا. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. نحمد الله حمد الشاكرين ونصلي ونسلم على النبي الكريم محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. Everyone remembers the 3 things I've said. There could be more for you. If you can take one or two, alhamdulillah. But the main thing is to feel that spirituality, to carry on. Fara'id are there all of the time. I'm not saying that we don't have weak points. Sometimes we all fall behind. But the main thing is to pick yourself up. Don't let shaitan convince you, hey, you don't pray. You know, how can you, for example, someone might say to a sister, you don't wear hijab, how can you pray? It doesn't work like that. You work on what you have, and you improve from there. Someone might say, why are you going to the masjid? Your job is not halal. That's fine, I appreciate that, but at least carry on going to the masjid and then work on the other things too. The salah is the knot, the salah is the string, the salah is the habl, the salah is the rope which connects you to Islam. Because when you leave salah, it's the connection is severed, it's disconnected. Allah says in the Quran, أُتْلُ مَا أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. Recite what's been revealed to you from the kitab and establish salah, because إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Salah forbids you, stops you, keeps you distant away from other sins. We can all agree to that. When you pray, if you keep that connection with salah, inshallah, it'll help you to avoid other sins too. Lastly, sins, the pleasure of sins end the moment the sin ends. You can't think of a sin that the pleasure of which continues after the sin ends itself. Any sin you commit, sins of the eye, the ears, any sin, the pleasure of that sin ends with the moment that the sin itself ends. But the bad deed, how long does it stay? Forever, until Allah forgives you, until you do tawbah. Whereas the good deed, the pleasure of the good deed stays eternally. You prayed 2 rakats of nafil salah at some point in your life, and it was only for the sake of Allah. And one day you're going somewhere far away, and you're on the train, you think, subhanAllah, one day I prayed these 2 rakats, it was the most amazing 2 rakats of my life. You will smile even then. So the pleasure of sins carry on eternally into Jannah, subhanAllah. The pleasure of good deeds, pleasure of good deeds, they carry on eternally unto Jannah. The pleasure of sins end with that sin, and the trouble and the punishment of it carries on for a long time until Allah forgives you. That's one thing to remember. We feel happy today. Shall I tell you the best and the most happiest day of our lives? Last thing, then I'll let you go, inshallah. The most happiest day of your lives, inshallah, will be when you will be taken and guided towards Jannah. And as you approach Jannah, Malaika and angels will say, Salamun alaykum, salam to you, subhanAllah. Angels will say salam to you, sinless beings of Allah, created out of light. They will say salam to you and greet you to Jannah. And they will say, Tibtum, welcome, you've been great. You're more than welcome. فَادْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ. Go inside it forever, subhanAllah. And that's not the end of it. You will enjoy Jannah day and night. Every single day your Jannah will keep on getting better for you. Jannah will keep on changing and adapting based on your taste and your requirements. Your Jannah will be the best experience for you. And after all of these pleasures, endless pleasures and joys, one day Allah Azza wa Jalla Himself will speak to you, subhanAllah. And He will say, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, O people of Jannah, Salamun alaykum, peace be upon you, subhanAllah. Allah will say salam to you. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Salam, saying from Rabbir Rahim, the Lord, the most kind, the most generous, subhanAllah. Allah will greet you with salam. Imagine, Allah will greet you with salam. Then He will say, are you happy with what you've got? And they will say, you've given us X, Y, and Z, you've given us this and this and this, we're more than happy. Allah will say, I will give you more. And they'll think, how can there be more than this? He will say, I will make myself happy with you forever. I will never be upset with you again, subhanAllah. And I will forbid my wrath upon you forever. I will never be angry with you again, subhanAllah. And thereafter, Allah Azza wa Jal will give a ultimate and final reward, the best of all the rewards. Allah Azza wa Jal will make himself apparent to the believers in Jannah, subhanAllah. And he will literally show himself, subhanal Malik, and you will see Allah Azza wa Jal, and that will be the most joyous, the most happy moment of your entire existence, subhanAllah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give us that, grant us that moment, and to make us all Jannatis, Ameen Rabbil Alameen, to make us all of those who Allah says that Allah will never be upset or angry with us, Ameen. We ask Allah's happiness and Ridwan upon us forever, Ameen Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah to grant us the ability to see Him in Jannah, Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الاحياء منهم والاموات انك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. اللهم تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا انك انت التواب الرحيم. اللهم وحد صفوف المسلمين يا رب العالمين كما وحدتنا في هذا المكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم الف بين قلوبنا واصلح ذات بيننا يا رب العالمين. اللهم اعتق رقابنا من النار يا رب العالمين. اللهم وحد الامه يا رب العالمين. انصر اخواننا في جميع بلاد يا رب العالمين. انصرهم في غزه وفي فلسطين وفي اليمن وفي الشام وفي جميع بلاد يا رب العالمين. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. العيد مبارك.
عيد مبارك. الله يرحمك. خلاص نجي مرات كويس. السلام عليكم. برا جاي ولا بس خومك. نبي زي ربنا شبه. براكو يكو.
It's live. You're gonna be in the live. Oh, you're gonna be live.
كون رضوان
You're free now. I'm feeling better to see you. Is your open question? No. Okay. Okay. Yes, of course. Anybody else want to come in? I'm sure he's going to go. Please come, brothers, come. He's going to go to Morocco. That's it.
We're going to look for wives.
Tell us, speak to Hajj Khalil, inshallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course. Come, please. No, anybody wants to go? Rahman. What's your name? Have a great time. I'm not funny. ما شاء الله ما شاء الله welcome. Hey, Mubarak, how are you? Feeling happy today? Have a good time, inshallah. Good one. Be a good man as well. Happy? Why is happy? Caffeine party. Of course, definitely, yes. Most I'm going to mention you. You've been here like the beginning. Easy. MashaAllah, it's fine. It's good. Alhamdulillah. How was it? It was good. Of course,
I'm going to get family one. You get them get that. I'm not going to do it. Was I in it? Yeah. فهمني منين؟
Of course, but
Look.
they have to get a little sense.
تريد الأخبار.
Oh yeah, I'm going to do it. So dad, right?
صار كيف؟
So I couldn't speak to you yesterday.
It's fine, no.
You know, after you went, some guy was telling me, you should think. I'm like, I didn't even start. It wasn't me. He was he's telling me, I was like, you should think.
تاخذ طرد.
He's shy. He's shy.
شو هسه تشوف؟ I don't know.
It's good online.
Shall I turn it that way?
It's fine. Listen, we'll turn off anyway. Exit. Turn off.